Уважаемые дамы и господа,
Ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I believe that the negotiations we just held with my colleague, Foreign Minister Roberto Alvarez, were very, very productive. They took place in a trusting atmosphere, and we examined in detail the entire range of issues on our bilateral agenda, as well as matters related to our cooperation on international and regional problems, including within the framework of the United Nations. We noted that this is the first ever visit by a foreign minister of the Russian Federation to the Dominican Republic in the entire history of our relations, and those relations are marking their 80th anniversary this year. This visit is also timed to coincide with the opening of the Russian embassy in Santo Domingo. Our ambassador, Alexei Viktorovich Seredin, has already been working here for several weeks with his small but friendly and effective team. They are currently focused primarily on organizing the embassy's residential and office facilities, which naturally requires effort. We will do everything we can to support this work so that the embassy can become fully operational as soon as possible, functioning from its own premises and focusing on promoting our relations with the Dominican Republic in all areas. The Dominican Republic is our promising partner in the Latin American and Caribbean region. We value the traditionally friendly ties between our countries, ties based on mutual respect and the search for a balance of interests. Today, we clearly saw a reaffirmation of this approach, which we fully share. We both noted the significant potential for deepening our trade and economic cooperation. We discussed promising areas of cooperation, especially in tourism and increasing tourist exchanges. The visa-free regime in place between our two countries supports this, making travel easier for our citizens. We also talked about the specific steps needed to return to the positive trend of increasing Russian tourist flows to the Dominican Republic. There is a shared understanding of what needs to be done, including the resumption of direct flights. We agreed to help establish direct ties between business communities and to provide them with comprehensive support. There are initiatives on both sides, including from the ambassador of the Dominican Republic to Russia, who is working with our Chamber of Commerce and Industry to organize a business forum to present opportunities in the Dominican Republic, also inviting Russian regional representatives. This is a very promising format, and we will actively support it. In addition to business, our governments are interested in expanding mutually beneficial trade and investment opportunities. We agreed to take steps to establish a working group on trade and economic cooperation, based on an existing bilateral memorandum. Co-chairs from both sides will be appointed soon to get this group functioning. We also have a mutual interest in expanding cultural, humanitarian, and educational ties, including the training of skilled professionals. We already provide Dominican citizens with government scholarships to study in Russian universities, and we will continue to do so. We have also had success with the participation of Dominican police officers in anti-drug training courses held at the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs Training Center in Managua, Nicaragua. Dominican representatives also attend training programs for emergency services personnel from Latin America and the Caribbean, held at the Regional Russian-Cuban Training Center for Rescue Professionals. As I mentioned, we also discussed our cooperation within the United Nations. We noted that in most cases, we share similar positions. We are grateful to the Dominican Republic for supporting several Russian initiatives, including resolutions on the inadmissibility of the revival of Nazism and its glorification, resolutions on preventing the militarization of outer space, and most recently, a new resolution opposing the revival of colonialism in any form. Of course, we also talked about developments in the ongoing discussions around UN reform and the emerging multipolar world order. At my colleague's request, I shared details of the discussions and outcomes of the BRICS foreign ministers meeting, and the meetings between BRICS members and partner countries that took place just yesterday and the day before in Rio de Janeiro. We see real opportunities for coordinating our actions, especially since Russia is already an observer in the Association of Caribbean States, and we hope soon to obtain a similar status in the Central American integration system. We are grateful, and I want to emphasize this again, to our Dominican friends for their excellent hospitality, well-organized meetings, and warm weather. We thank Minister Lavrov. It is a great honor for me to welcome you here in the Dominican Republic with your delegation. As Minister Lavrov noted, we had a very productive meeting as part of this first-ever visit of a Russian foreign minister to the Dominican Republic. This marks a milestone in our diplomatic relations, which have continued for 80 years. We commemorated this anniversary in March. We are committed to developing the relations between our two countries. We had an honest and wide-ranging exchange of ideas on many issues. We spoke about the complex geopolitical situation today, the future of multilateralism, which is more necessary than ever, and the challenges facing humanity. This was an opportunity to highlight the importance of creating an international system based on norms, particularly those enshrined in the UN Charter and on respect for international law. I stated that the Dominican Republic and its government are committed to peace and security throughout the world. One of the central topics of our negotiations was the deep political, humanitarian, and security crisis in Haiti. I presented to Minister Lavrov the Dominican Republic's concerns in great detail. We are in favor of urgent, coordinated actions that will be more effective through the multinational support mission for Haiti, with the UN playing a central role in logistics and financing to ensure the mission's effectiveness. In this context, we hope for cooperation from Minister Lavrov and the Russian Federation. We also discussed bilateral issues. As already mentioned, we examined ways to boost trade, tourism, and cultural exchanges between our countries. We believe there is great potential for increasing the number of Russian tourists visiting the Dominican Republic. We have reviewed and will continue to look into mechanisms that could help achieve this. We especially noted the upcoming, though symbolic, opening of the Russian embassy in Santo Domingo, which will further strengthen cooperation and mutual understanding between our countries. Once again, we thank you and your delegation for this visit, and for your willingness to continue developing our bilateral relations and cooperation. Thank you very much.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.